We'll release the recording to the highest bidder. No. If anything, that's incentive for me to record something. Also, here's the smoothie lottery. Did the Niji team agree to make a style Catboy? Not yet. No. I might still eventually convince them to, but it's not going to be any time in the near future. Play that funky music. What kind do you want? There's the kind you get when you click the music note icon. You can play that yourself. And there's some other music that I posted here. Wait. With the 6-shooter for flipping Russian smoothie roulette. That is weirdly relevant to part of another conversation I had earlier. David posted the announcement before running the stage. Hello.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Give it a minute and we'll start. Let me know what it looks like it's leveling off. It just gets stuck. It gets stuck. That was weird. So I have a very important announcement to make, which is that I am moving on from smoothies. I'm doing this thing called a deconstructed smoothie, which is basically all the things that go into a smoothie, but without the smoothie. So like I'm having like berries, nuts and berries and yogurt and just, basically it's the smoothie without the blender.
Looks like we're about leveled off.
Okay. Yeah, basically you're eating a smoothie instead of drinking it. Cool. So welcome everybody to the weekly office hours. We do these every week. And basically we talk about what we're working on. What we're working on and what we're thinking about. We take questions and that's about it. Fortunately, because I'm eating instead of drinking, I may have occasional interruptions with chewing. So in theory, I should only be drinking liquids I should only be eating liquid meals while I'm on here, but it's kind of lunchtime and trying to make sure I have the energy. So cool. Let's see what's going on. We had a release. We had like a candidate for V6, but I think we're not really, like it's better, but I think we wanted more better. And the release process takes a lot of energy to like tune everything for release and collect all the data and tune everything perfectly. So what we're thinking of doing is like, we're still waiting on Discord to push the UI updates that let us do inpainting inside of Discord. But I think what we're doing is at some point Discord will push the updates to allow us to do them. I think it's like looking like 2 weeks, but who knows? And I know I've been saying it every week now for like a month, so it's just, we'll kind of see. We're trying. I know we're making some progress, so we're working hard. That's great. We're very appreciative. So maybe 2 weeks. And then I think we're working on the V6, but I think we're going to take a little bit more time and try to make it like a bigger difference. Like right now, it feels a little bit like, basically, if we do a small V6 release now, we could probably get it in a week. But the problem is it would be like, I feel like it'd be like 50% better. And so I feel like it'd be noticeably better, and I'm sure everyone will be happy, but we feel like we should probably push for V6 to be even more better. So yeah, I think our goal for V6 was to, I would be more like responsive to prompts. Unfortunately, right now, it's sort of, I would say the current V6 is like more coherent. It looks more visually diverse. It has more knowledge, but it's still a little fussy, like V5 is. And so we're trying to figure out how to make it less fuzzy. We got some pretty good ideas. And so we're trying things right now. I'm testing things specifically to try to push it a little harder, to make it more responsive to the text. It's gonna be interesting to see if like anything immediately fixes it. We can always fall back and like release a conservative one, but I think we'd rather like take that 2 weeks of energy that we would spend releasing something and try to push it into a bigger V6. So hopefully that's a good idea. So theoretically, what that means is that in a few weeks we'll have our in-painting release and some aesthetic updates, which just get better as we collect more data. And then hopefully a few weeks after that, we have like this bigger V6. Yeah, so it's not ideal. In an ideal world, I would like release anything we could release. But I'm just not sure we should do that in this case. I think we kind of want to like push it a little harder, make it a little better. Because like we can update the aesthetics and it's like a little bit easier. But when we do like a totally new kind of model with different architectures and everything, it's like there's just like a lot of knobs that we have to like make sure we have to like validate a lot of stuff. I mean, it's an interesting question. We could end up like doing a partial release, like calling it 5.5, which would be interesting. But yeah, I'm leaning away from doing that right now. Just because it stresses everyone out to do the releases, because it's like you have to check a lot of things. So I don't know. I think the interpainting in the new style seems like pretty no-brainer. But then this more sort of straightforward version 6, we're just kind of scaling some things. Not totally happy with it. So I think we'll probably hold off on that. But in an ideal world, a few weeks to do the impending new style. A few more weeks we have this bigger V6. Yeah. I think people can wait. In parallel, we're trying to kind of upgrade our data centers, and basically, we think our models could be a lot faster. And I think the challenge is that the new machines are not necessarily in high quantity. So, like, we have the ability to make image generation faster, but not for everyone. And so what we're thinking of doing is potentially allowing the higher membership tiers to have access to the faster computers first, which are in limited supply. So what I've been thinking of doing is something like making turbo mode. I'm not sure if it'll be exactly like the current turbo mode. It's gonna be something like the turbo mode, but like something like the turbo mode, like maybe free for the pro tier and higher. Honestly, we're pretty conflicted on how to do this. I think, unfortunately, what's going to happen at some point is like, I think we need to change how the pricing plans work. Not in a way that makes it more expensive for anybody, but in a way that like allows us to kind of think about these different types of computers, which might be in different like supplies. And so I'm not really sure how to do it long term. It's one reason why I've been like pushing out lots of micro surveys, trying to get a sense of like, if we trying to get a sense of like where we how we distribute the compute. Yeah. I mean, basically, like if we have it's like if we have like 10 computers that are super fast, like I'm just gonna make up a number. If we had 10 computers that were 100 times faster, like what will we do with them? We're not gonna use them on relax mode because relax mode is slow. We're gonna use them on fast mode. Then like you don't really want to randomly distribute them with all the jobs because then almost no one will ever get one. You could make it so that people could pay more to get to the faster computers, which is what turbo mode already does. But the problem with turbo mode is that like so we currently have this thing with the turbo mode I think you pay for faster speeds, and the problem is that I think it just like messes with people in their heads, and they just are having a hard time wanting to use it. So yeah. Yeah, so I think there's something interesting about that. Like, I mean, I don't know, I think the turbo mode is really good. If you haven't used the turbo mode, just try it for like 2 pictures, like it doesn't matter. Like just do /turbo and say like /turbo imagine cat, and just like, it is much better. I really do like it. But I think the problem is that for these speeds, we just don't have enough computers to do all the stuff that fast. And so what we're thinking of doing is like right now there aren't that many people with the pro and the turbo. There's the pro and the mega tiers. So I think we might, not right now, but soon, we may soon have enough computers to basically like turbo to maybe give the higher tiers like free turbo or something like turbo. Maybe it'll be like 2x faster than 4x faster, but just faster. And so Yeah. And so we're thinking of trying that. We'll see. I don't know when it will happen. I think sometime in the next 1 month. Yeah, let's say sometime in the next month, I think we're going to try making it a lot faster for the pro and mega tiers. I'll see if people like it. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. Right now, like a lot, the $10 and the $30 a month ones are the majority of the images. So, like, we don't have enough computers to make that bulk of the users faster right now. If we did have enough computers to make it faster for everyone, I think we would. But we don't. So, yeah. We're gonna just and then we have an even faster turbo mode, which is like 8x faster, and like a super turbo mode. Honestly, we haven't really gotten to play with it that much yet, but seems good. So I think there will be always some version of the service where you pay more money to get like faster. And then I think if we have a limited amount of spare fast compute, we might be able to give it for free to the higher tiers. And then I guess hopefully like eventually everyone can use everything, but it's possible that there will be some compute limitations for the next 6 months. And so, given compute limitations over the next 6 months, we may just need kind of 2 membership tiers and like a paid turbo for the lower ones to kind of help balance it out. And yeah, it's not about like serving the rich, as somebody said. And wow, it was like kind of intense. But it's about like just trying to figure out how to have a smaller number of people, like how to pick a smaller number of people for that. We could probably give out like prizes at some point, like we'll have extra. So we could have like a prize for $10 and $30 tiers where they get free turbo mode for the month, maybe. Like, that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be really cool. So we can definitely find ways to like give out a small amount to the other tiers. It's just like that will involve like something that we don't have implemented right now. But it's basically, yeah, so anybody can try turbo mode right now. If you type /turbo, it will turn on. It will use twice as many fast minutes, just to be careful. But it'll go 4 times faster. But I mean, obviously, twice as many fast minutes, it doesn't matter if you're making like 2 pictures. Yeah, --turbo works too. Just like, just try it for like 2 pictures. It's the same thing as making 4 pictures, so it really doesn't matter. It's definitely fun to like try it. Yeah. We've also been debating about having like these faster image modes that only give out half as many images, but for the same price. So we may do this thing where like, yeah, you can get 2 images at 4 times the speed for the same price instead of 4. So we might do that too, and then everybody can have access to that. But this is getting complicated, and so this is where I start worrying about like potentially needing to change how we do the pricing plans, because we start saying like this costs twice as many fast minutes and this costs 3 times as many. At some point, it almost makes sense to kind of call it like, it might sense to change make sense to change the names a bit around. Like, we might call them like GPU. Like, at some point, it makes sense to change the names, that change the way that the plans. There's like, it feels like there's some organizational change that there should be at some point, and I don't know what it is, and I've been kind of frustrated about it because I can feel that it's not structured properly for these sorts of like different types of GPUs. So I'm going to be asking questions on the micro polls just to help me think about it, like with the community, because like, yeah, I'm sorry for the chewing sounds, everyone. Maybe I will only have liquid foods in the future on the office hours. Smoothies are back. Let's see. A Catboy smoothie is intense. Yeah, I'm just gonna have nachos in the future. Like the most obnoxious possible thing. Um, we can also do the emojis. If anybody wants to do emojis, I could be like, ice cream, yum, gang gang. Ooh, ice cream, yum. We got one, yeah. Ice cream, yum. Pizza, so turbo. Wow, turbo so fast. Yes. Okay, I'm actually gonna not do this. That takes too much. I'm not doing it. Um, spicy pepper. No spicy pepper. Okay. Um, yeah. I forgot to say for the rose. Thank you. Um, um, yeah. So what else is going on? The website. Working on the standalone website, and it's pretty good. Like I'm probably using it like half the time now, but still making some pretty big changes. Um, I think the biggest question for us on the website right now is like whether we like how much social stuff we put in. And then I think the other big question is like how much we're going to change the front page. But there's definitely a lot of stuff that is getting better. There's a universe where we may have to, I think we're debating on how to release the website, whether we kind of release it to like everybody all at once or whether we do some kind of like light rollout. I think we want to do like a pretty rapid rollout, but I think we're trying to like, we have to kind of grapple with what that might mean and what we're really comfortable with. But I think that's probably one of the biggest focuses for us right now is trying to make that sure has, like, make sure that it has a lot of functionality because there's a lot of stuff in there. We also have some mobile apps that we've been testing, so we're playing with that too. We're probably going to do like a native iOS app, and we're going to do a non-native Android app. I'm sorry, Android users. I mean, I'm actually more of an Android user personally myself, but I think there's a lot more people who want to develop iOS apps than Android apps, so it's kind of a weird market. Yeah, I definitely like Android. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I mean, one thing that is worth considering is that, unfortunately, like if somebody was going to download it on a mobile phone and then basically like pay for it, well, it's like pretty expensive for a mobile app. So I think there is an argument that like only iOS users yeah, there's definitely an issue there. But yeah, I don't know what to say. So unfortunately, native iOS is coming first for native, and then the Android will still be there, I think, pretty fast, but they'll actually be available at the same time. But the Android one may be like less native. It's like more web-based. It's like more of like a React web thing. Yeah, I mean, like our web stuff does work on mobile. So basically that's kind of our like default mobile thing, but then we potentially have like a native iOS thing too. So yeah, that's kind of how we're feeling right now. It means that that means the iOS one would probably be like extra buttery smooth, and the Android one may be like less buttery smooth. We'll see. So what else is going on? doing the surveys. So there's a little surveys in the announcement. If you haven't filled it out, it would be great if you could fill it out. We're using it to try to collect some sort of like demographic and psychometric, it sounds cool, doesn't it? Like data on the community, and then try to correlate that with the prompts and the aesthetics and the ratings and things like that. And, you know, we're in a weird situation right now because, like the aesthetics of Midjourney are sort of focused on the average Midjourney user, but like the average Midjourney user is like not necessarily the average human on Earth. And obviously Midjourney people are the best, so who cares about everybody else? And trying to understand male like in the community, which is unfortunate. And it'd be interesting to ask, like, okay, what if we like pulled out, like, it's interesting to, we could say, like, what if we pulled out like all the, like, what if we had like a, it's not, this is not really a thing, but with the data, we could simulate like, okay, what would like a 100% female Midjourney look like? And we can like ask the algorithms to tune for like just women for a second and just sort of see like what that looks like. And then we could, like, and that, I'm not saying that we're going to do that, but what it does is it lets us like scientifically try to understand like what does the fact that there are more men than women on here right now, like how is that affecting our feedback loops for the algorithm tuning? And you know, maybe one day we will make it so you can like customize the Midjourney stuff by putting in things. But yeah, I think we do want to make it like, we do want to make it so that you can, we're going to make it so that the aesthetics can kind of like personalize to users. I think there's a lot of questions around how to make it personalized to the users. And so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to basically do a bunch of surveys, and we're going to have to kind of get a sense of like what kinds of questions actually tell us about people's aesthetics. I don't think it's going to be just like men versus women, like what's your gender, and then that's like what, and now that actually like, you know, is the best way to personalize. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. However, I think it is really interesting to ask our questions of like how are the demographic, how are the like the demographic biases of the community affecting the feedback loops? And I think that is an important question to ask, and we'll be able to understand that better soon. So that'll be interesting. And then we definitely know that the aesthetics are different for Midjourney, like in like the Japanese, like we know that like, yeah, the Japanese users look for very different things in the anime than the Western users do. And so at some point, I think we have to try to like take that into account more too. And so we're trying to kind of think about the future aesthetic systems that I think are more balanced, more personalized, and more diverse in general. And so we're going to need a lot of surveys to figure that out, because frankly, no one's really done these tests before. Eventually what we're going to do is we're going to, on the website, have like a bunch of different ones you can complete and get like, you know, free GPU hours for. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do a bunch of ones like the current one, and I'll ask for people's like user IDs in the beginning, and then we'll just like distribute hours manually. So expect probably like one a week for a little bit. And we'll see how that goes. Yeah. What else is going on? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should get. Well, yeah, we're thinking actually having like a Midjourney personality test or a Midjourney like aesthetic personality test. So I think we kind of want to move towards that, but it's just going to take us a bit of time. The last survey questions are called the Big 10. It's called the 10 question Big Five survey. And so the Big Five is a standard psychometrics test. And basically what they did was um, they asked like 1,000 people 10,000 questions, and then they tried to find the 5 things that were most important that predicted other things. And then they basically have 2 questions for each of the 5 things. And that's the 10.5. The 10 point, it's the 5, it's the, oh God, it's really confusing. It's the Big 5 10 question test. Yes. We actually kind of want to make our own tests, but before we do our own tests, we'll probably there's kind of 2 big tests, standard tests I really want to do. One, yeah, so it's this Big 5. And the other test I really want to do is this thing called the, like, I forget what it's called. It's about values, like about like what you value as a human. And I'm really curious how like our values relate to our aesthetics. And I would love to do a test and kind of get a feel for that. So yeah. Anyway, what else is going on? There's a lot of we've been playing with some control net like things, some video like things, some 3D stuff. No, we don't. Everyone's like, you're not going to sell our data, right? I'm like, why would we sell your data? We get money from the subscriptions. Like, data is not actually that valuable. Yeah. The only way you make money off data is if you have like billions of users. No way to get billions of users is to make everything free. And so if Midjourney was free and ad-based, then we would be selling people's information potentially. But because we are not free and we don't have ads, we only make money off of people using it, having the membership fees, then that's just that. Google doesn't sell data, actually. It would be cool to be able to buy data from Google, but Google basically just sells ads. Yeah. Anyway, I don't think we're going to have an ad-based Midjourney tier. We're thinking of having more of like a data labeling tier where you like rate images and do things that actually make the service better. Yeah, so our goal is like, we'll have a free tier where basically people like help make the service better in exchange for basically giving, then we give them images. Everyone's like, don't CEOs want to make more money? And I'm like, yeah. I don't know. I want to make stuff. I don't want to make money. I want to make stuff. I want to make cool things. And right now, our like ability to make cool things is not really related to money as much as it is related to time and people and organization. And so, and then just generally having like everything being stable. So yeah. There's a lot of people who really have messed up. Like there's a lot of businesses have pretty messed up motivations. It's often about like being competitive, winning, making money, but I don't know, just make cool things, make the world better, make cool stuff. We have a lot of really cool stuff I want to make. I hope I get to make it. Yeah, exactly. If we can cover expenses, we want to spend the rest of the time being creative. Yeah. Which is one reason to not raise money from investors, because then it's a lot of times about making more money. Yeah. Anyway. Cool. So I think that's it. So we'll do a lightning round, then we'll have some voices up. Yeah, maybe we'll do voices up first. I don't know. What do you think? Ancient, do we have people?
Yeah, I have queue of people for voice if you want to do that first.
Yeah, let's do voice first. I'd like to hear people's voices. It's kind of lonely just to talk into the abyss. I'm not calling anybody an abyss. But
Hey David, how are you?
hello.
Um, so I was in Blender the other day and I was using the Optics AI denoiser, and as I was looking at it, I was thinking about the future of rendering and just some of the projects I've been trying to make where I've been limited by VRAM, and I was thinking of Runway Gen 2 and just video in general and controllability. So I was kind of also I've been messing around with Luma AI, which is a nerf-based like photo scanner. And so when you I do a lot of photo scanning in my free time, and when you do it, you usually get like a point-based like image cloud, and that made me start to think about like generative AI and rendering. And so I just kind of like in this imagination path, I kind of imagined like what if Midjourney were to make a renderer, and I could imagine it being like in a program like Blender. It's a plugin where all Midjourney is looking for from Blender is you would create your geometry, all that type of stuff, kind of like the blocking out process in painting or 3D. And then on objects, you could essentially have like alpha mats or like alphas where it's like this shape, just this geometry just says there needs to be an object there. Or you could assign a material, let's say a brick wall. So when you select that material, instead of it being like a image texture, that material is more like a prompt texture. So it'd be like brick wall, symmetrical, all those types of things. So you'd have materials on objects. And then let's say on top of the brick, you wanted to have something like ivy, where you'd maybe weight paint or like vector vertex groups. So I imagine a plugin for, I mean, it could be more than Blender. It could be the like Maya or whatever, where the job of the 3D software is to spit out to Midjourney or your servers a point cloud that has different qualities or like keywords where it's like it just knows there needs to be objects here, or this is like what the scene should look like, or just like maybe prompting all the textures or all the different stuff. And I just imagine for like controllability, that being really useful, and especially being able to be integrated into professional workflows, because I mean I've been using a lot of generative fill and I use the Adobe project. So I was curious, I know you like target the consumer end of things, so I was just curious if like you have any interest when you do 3D is like integrating with some industry standard softwares, even if like that isn't the final render for a movie, the ability to give it like in the ideation process, like an example in the scene, and then you run the Midjourney render on it and it does like generative AI on your draft of a scene, and then you get the beauty of the creativity and running a bunch of different prompts. But have you thought of anything like that? Or I don't even know, my question is like, have you thought of rendering like that, or is that even possible?
Yeah, anything's possible. I think there's a lot of. I think the future of the tool. I don't think this technology is going to be a plugin for existing tools as much as it is the beginning of a totally different tool set. And I don't think we know what that tool set looks like yet. So I don't want to spend our time making it part of existing workflows. I think that the Midjourney team is interested in playing with existing workflows a little bit more than me, and I'm okay with like them trying some things, but I just don't think that Yeah, I don't understand how any flow that involves. Yeah, I just don't. I don't think. I don't. It's hard for me to imagine. It's hard for me to imagine the existing flows being part of the future. I think that we're gonna need different flows. And I think that it's for just because you can yeah. So I just think it's gonna be different. I think it's kind of time to start from scratch and play with new flows. And yeah, so I'm trying to focus my time more on trying to imagine what those tools will look like, because you throw out a lot of assumptions. Um, yeah, I don't know what they're going to look like. So I think the storytelling team is going to be playing with some, the Nietzsche team will be playing with some, I'm playing with some. So we're kind of investigating like multiple paths for where the tools will go. But I think in general, it's going to be just really different. And unfortunately, like, if we wanted to like impact the industry as quickly as possible, we would be trying to make plugins for existing tools where people are working on existing projects. Um, but I think at the end of the day, that would basically be work that it would be kind of throwaway work. I feel like over like, not necessarily over like a 1 year time frame, but over like a 5 year time frame. And so I think we're kind of trying to only invest in things which are long term. Yeah, so we're trying to invest in features which we feel like will still be around in a few years. And I think if it won't be around in a few years, we should probably not touch it. Yeah, there ought to be exceptions to that. But it's really it's really risky to like take a very finite amount of time and invest in something that's not going to be around in the near future. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of intense because like obviously there's like huge industries that use these tools. And I'm not saying that like Midjourney replaces all those industries. All I'm saying is that like whatever they're like once upon a time we we didn't have graphical user interfaces, and then computers were really different and tool flows were really different. I think that the AI stuff that's happening right now, whether it's with images or with text or with voice, are a much bigger shift than graphical user interfaces. And so I think that like yeah, to me the AI shift is like before and after GUIs. So I don't really want to work on GUIs. I want to work on like the thing that comes after GUIs, metaphorically speaking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
I could imagine that like when he talks about like telling stories around the fire, it's like when VR headsets are better, it's like being in an environment and like when we have better language processing, it's like talking to it in an environment or like pointing to things. I can imagine like the multimodal, like immersive environment that can be built down the road. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. I have a question about like referral codes. Is there any chance there's going to be like either referral codes where if someone buys Midjourney with your code, you get like a percentage of the hours, like even if it's like 5 or 10%, just as like incentive to get more people using Midjourney, or some sort of, maybe if it has to be on the higher tiers for it to work out, where it's like if I have a friend who I want to show Midjourney, I can like give them a code and I give them like 3 of my hours for them to try Midjourney out or something like that. Just so you could like track who you're getting into stuff and like on your account see if people actually like, if you're able to inspire people to do it. Like if I made like a tutorial, for example, on YouTube and I had a Midjourney code, it'd be interesting to see like how many people actually tried Midjourney from that video.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's hard for us is that, like, even though it makes sense from a sort of purely financial standpoint to like let people uh, have referral codes, right now I like it where if somebody hears about Midjourney from somebody, it's somebody who's like excited, not somebody who's trying to get a reward. And so it creates sort of like a more a more genuine community of evangelists. Otherwise, like, I mean, we could pay people, like, we could, like, you know, there's a monetary reason to like straight up pay people for getting them on the platform, but then it's sort of like then it feels less like a community and more of like a sales team. And I definitely want to avoid having a sales team in general, but then also I want to avoid turning the community into a sales team.
Yeah, that's super fair. Those are my questions. Just to mention a thing you said, to have a Midjourney personality test would be so cool. It would also be cool if you then just asked people their actual MBTI to maybe see correlations between like personality types and their Midjourney aesthetics. I mean, I love MBTI. I have a degree in psychology. It's like my favorite. It's one of the most useful favorite things from it. But yeah, that's everything. Thank you for your time.
Sure. We did the Big Five on the recent survey, and the Big Five is kind of like the Myers-Briggs test, but it's a little bit more, people find that it's a little bit more consistent.
Yeah, it's not as, yeah, it's for just general things like data correlation. But yeah, even I see people, I talked to a couple of people. There's a lot of like, I'm an INFP personally, and I've talked to some other INFPs.
And so the Big Five doesn't have a lot of emotional resonance like the Myers-Briggs has, but it does have more statistical grounding.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you for your time.
First.
Hey, David, how's it going?
Well,
I have a question about sharing Midjourney creations outside of Midjourney, the Midjourney community. Like, essentially, are you interested in people sharing their work outside of the Midjourney community? It seems like most of the functions and features built within the tool, I mean, Discord is Discord, but within the web app at least, are not designed to facilitate that. And like, if you are, or if you're not, I'm interested in why. But if you are, what kind of communities and online tools are you interested in seeing people use? Like, for example, building their own portfolio websites. Are there any online communities or social platforms that you see as good avenues for exposing my creative work in Midjourney to people outside of Midjourney?
I'm not necessarily the best person to ask, like, what's the best like thing to do visual portfolios in. So I don't think
I'm just curious about your personal opinion on it rather than like executional recommendations.
I think the majority of people make Midjourney images just for themselves, and if they really like it, they'll show it to friends. But most people are not very commercially minded on the platform. Those people who are commercially minded are usually like really thinking about a specific project. So like, brainstorming with a customer or something about what direction to go in, or brainstorming with people on their team. And so I don't know. I feel good about all those things. I'm not spending a lot of time right now and thinking about how, like, I know some people like the idea of making like large sets of Midjourney images and like Midjourney portfolios and showing it off. And I'm trying to, maybe one day we'll have something that supports that. But for now, I'm trying to avoid the sort of like social dynamics of like performative social dynamics, which I think obviously is good and bad. I think sometimes performative social dynamics like obviously it serves a lot of these behaviors I think are bioadaptive, meaning that they are stuff that like are good for the group of like the whole of humanity or the tribe or whatever. But I guess I'm like scared of feedback loops early on, and sort of trying to make sure that the things that we encourage are sort of like very thoughtful. Yeah, I think we're still working on that. We're still working on that, but it's
appreciate
something
where
that
you're
we
coming
are very
from.
thoughtful about.
I definitely appreciate where you're coming from in terms of like trying not to create a feedback loop that changes my motivation for what I create for myself. I love that about it. And I guess, when I think about conjuring something into existence because I wanted to visualize something I'm imagining, part of the joy in that, for me at least, comes from sharing it with people in my own community. And a lot of people in my own community are not in the Midjourney community itself. So yeah, it's not so much a question about like, should you add a Instagram share button to the website so much as like at a higher level, if the value of Midjourney is me creating something for myself, do you also see value in facilitating me sharing that with the people that I care about?
Yeah, I just don't know what that means. Like, does that mean like you're making a gallery and you can share the link with somebody?
Maybe, yeah. I'm not. I don't know what it means either. It's a pretty broad question.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is that there are already too many ways to share photos.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I would be adding something to the world by investing in that. I definitely think that if we're going to do something there, we should do something that's like a little bit more new, maybe ambitious even. So like we are investing right now in like the ability for AI to kind of automatically pick out interesting images that people are making. So that way we actually have, because like right now there are more images being made than eyeballs to look at them.
Yeah, there
So
sure
we
are.
can't really use human ratings to actually go through all the images. Like human ratings would imply that you have like a person to rate, more than one person to rate every single image. And so we've been investing a lot in AI tools to kind of help go through things and pick out interesting stuff and help explore stuff. And I mean, I think that's, it's about sharing, but it's also about exploration, And so I think that like we're more focused on exploration tools right now than we're focused on sharing tools. And I think there's some overlap between those because like when people explore, stuff is also shared, But somehow I think it is different. Yeah. I don't know. It's yeah, I mean I think the exploring is a huge problem right now because there are like so many images being made, nobody has any real idea what's going on. I'm trying to give a sense of like what's going on, the liveliness of the community is like a big thing that we're trying to invest in. And I think is like really important. Versus like I think we're kind of taking user profiles out of the next website where you can search for users and like see what images they're making, but we don't have like curated profiles. And maybe we'll bring them back one day, but like having to deal with the idea of like, oh, I want a banner and then I want to be able to sort my web page. It's just like obviously not the most important thing. So I think it might make more sense for us to have like things like albums that you can share when we start doing things that are not pictures, like 3D. Because there really isn't an appropriate place to share 3D. But maybe video, or if we do something that's like video, obviously YouTube is fine. But if we did some kind of weird hybrid 3D video stuff, like if we, which I mean, it's going to go in that direction effectively. As the medium becomes weird, we're going to definitely make more of a sharing platform for it. So I would expect that. I'm not going to say exactly what I think it looks like because I kind of want to keep that low key, but I think I do have a bit of a vision for where the medium goes. And it's not to say the right vision, but I think the idea is like if there's a new medium that comes out of this, then we'll probably have to make a website for sharing it because I don't think anyone else will do it. But as long as the medium is sort of an existing medium like images, then I just don't, not the, like we will let people save them and send them as they do everywhere else,
Yeah.
I definitely see like a problem where that falls down for like creating albums that you share. Like you can definitely do it on like Reddit. Like Reddit lets you do little albums. Instagram lets you do little albums. Twitter lets you do little albums. But there isn't like a nice way to make an album and share it with some friends. So I definitely see, or like a client or something. I definitely do see like a gap there. But yeah, I acknowledge that gap.
Yeah, but it's falling below the line of priority. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. I appreciate it.
honestly, we're pretty overwhelmed right now, just like managing photos, managing 1,000 photos and doing the creation and like the recommendation stuff. Like just the basics are pretty overwhelming for the current team size and doing it really well. So we're gonna do our best on the simple stuff, and we'll definitely add more things over time. I guess we'll do a lightning round now because those two are kind of long, and so that will go to we'll do a few more voices, and then we'll keep going. So what's going on? What's my Myers-Briggs? I think it's INTJ, INTP. So the thing about Myers-Briggs is it's not very consistent. So every time you test it, it changes a bit. And it changes over time too. I mean, I haven't tested it lately, so maybe it's not even INTP anymore. Yeah, I mean, the idea of yearly subscribers having some fat rollover hours, I think, could make sense, but I think our billing system is pretty fucked right now. So we're rewriting it basically, and so doing things involving the fast hours and the billing is really challenging right now. We're kind of we're doing our best and we're working really hard, but we can't really do a lot of innovation around the fast hours. What is my ocean? I forgot. Yeah, that's the big 5 one. Yeah, I like UFOs. I'm a big fan of aliens. Possible I am an alien. Do I have a favorite reptile? I don't know. I like cats. I like birds. Not a huge reptile person. I mean, geckos are cool. I get geckos. We'll call it geckos. What Harry Potter house am I? Never really read Harry Potter. I read a lot of other fantasy books, unfortunately. Um, 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 what's my tarot card? You might get a tarot card. I don't know what that means. There's the way to zoom out consistently across multiple images. Yeah, it's anything's possible. We definitely are not. Yeah, anything's possible. Yeah, I do think that like interactive, like I don't think of Midjourney as a fast artist. It's more of like a slow world engine, and so it's like and like how the first Pixar movies took an hour to render every picture, and now our video games render 60 pictures a second, and it looks much better. I think these AI models are basically world engines, which are just slow, but will be one day become effectively real time. David is a car person. No, cat person. Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle? I'm more of a Charmander guy. Is Enneagram preferable to Myers-Briggs? I think they're both pretty similar. Enneagram's slightly newer. I don't know, but definitely. Yeah. Yeah, we have about doing a custom billing plan where you can kind of use a slider and you can kind of pick a custom thing. The superconductor is pretty cool. I'm very hopeful about it. Like the superconductor is like the most exciting drama in the science world right now. Definitely, I want to believe. Definitely something's just. I don't think it's fake. If it was fake, then everybody would. Yeah, something is interesting about the material, and what are the exact properties, and can it be made better? I'm sure it can be made better. Yeah. I win Mark Zuckerberg in a cage fight. We are similar heights. He probably is working out more right now. I used to do martial arts. No. I don't really have high enough testosterone for that kind of wargaming. Favorite dessert? Jeez, these are a little weird. Okay, let's move towards some Midjourney questions. Yeah, no referral affiliate system right now. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know that like it feels weird about it because like on one level, like I would, like I see the reason to do it, and on another level, I'm just like really scared of everyone just like shilling Midjourney so they can get like some money. And I know shilling is a harsh word, but like that's what it would feel like. And I think in some ways right now, like it's really important that people who are talking about Midjourney are genuinely excited about it as like a human being and are not trying to make money. And if we kind of took like if we had like more crypto vibes, it would definitely like fuck with the entire perception of the AI field. So, yeah. Yeah, we want to make a higher. We don't have enough people to work on a better upscaler right now. We do want to have an upscaler though. I did see Oppenheimer. I thought it was cool. I wish that it had Feynman in it, but I like the Einstein scenes. I wish the explosion was bigger. Aliens, superconductors. I am excited about both of them. How many versions of the Midjourney feedback loop could be sustained other than a female version? I think the goal is to actually have like an infinite number of feedback loops. Like every user has their own feedback loop. And we're just kind of trying to slowly get there and kind of do it carefully. Personality tests are not pseudoscientific per se. Some of them are like, they're determined statistically and they repeat when you do them over and over again over 10 years. That's something. They're at least consistent. Sketch to image. We're playing around with some things, but I don't know the current exact status. Turbo mode is really great if you want to show Midjourney to your friends. Yeah, because it just makes it faster and easier. Catboy NFTs. Well, I think Catboys are good, but I don't know about NFTs. I'm gonna try to let's avoid the NFTs. Yeah. Advanced search coming back. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm sorry. It's really hard with our current database to do that kind of search. But we're gonna try at some point. We're trying to migrate our whole database probably. There are like too many pictures. Everyone's making too many pictures. The database is too big. Everyone's talking about NFTs now. One of my favorite Midjourney NFT stories was I think there was like this there's a teenager on the server that everybody kind of knew was like a teenager, but he was really good at Midjourney. And this guy came to him and he was like, "Hey kid, I can tell you've got some serious talent. Do you want to make some NFTs with me?" And the kid was just like, "No." Like, get lost, basically. And everyone was like, "Yay, the kids are okay, the kids are okay." Someone's like, "You should raise your testosterone." No, thank you. Then I'll be like Jeff Bezos. I'll be like going to Coachella with like a supermodel. Yeah. And I say that being a huge Jeff Bezos fan. Please, Jeff, come back to Earth. Help us make cool things. Help us. I mean, like, obviously, yeah, I don't know. Obviously, obvious. Yeah. Okay. Any other lightning questions? We're gonna do some voices. You'll try to get the fast hours out in a day or two, I think. I'm gonna wait another day or two. I'm gonna see let's see let people finish the test still. Yeah, I remember dreams. Okay, cool. All right, so we can take a few more voices. Bringing some people out. Hello.
Mavis, you're muted.
Hello, sorry for the bad audio. My computer decided to do an update. My question for this week. I heard that cetaceans, like whales and dolphins, communicate with images because they see the same way as they speak with ultrasound. Could that be used to make an interspecies communication device with Midjourney?
That'd be cool. I would support that.
And another question. You said. You said. I forgot. Damn. Yeah. Other question is. You see, I changed my name because right now nearly every question in prompt chat can be solved with removing the stylized. Is it maybe time to move it out of the default? Because a lot of new users just pick it because they think it would help them in an other way as it is designed.
Wait, what? Say it again? I don't understand, sorry.
The stylized, a lot of users pick high stylized mode just because they think every image will be looked better and listen to their prompt. However, a lot of them come to prompt chat and complain that Midjourney doesn't do as they say.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting question. I can't tell how many of those users are new users versus there are users that were like using the previous version of Midjourney where the stylized didn't do much.
Just ask Clarinet. She knows that a lot.
My impression is that a lot of them were people who were just using the previous version, and then all of a sudden it started like being really strong. Because I don't think most users actually use the stylized prompt. Like mostly, it'd be pretty advanced. Like only the more advanced ones use it.
And not really, because that's one of the settings you can just pick without knowing it.
You mean under the slash settings?
Yeah, and there it is, but chaos is not in there, and weird is not in there as well. So
Yeah,
it's the only you can pick without knowing it.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. We can look into that. I think that's a good point.
Oh, and I remember what I wanted to ask again. You said you want to make on our characters personalized for every user. How about would it be possible to do it the other way around, to make a character test to put a lot of users in one group that thinks similar for the community aspect, and give them a shared style so they can use it together and they all will be happy with that style they can curate together and update together?
How would they do it?
You make some either you opt in one of the communities that's, I don't know, the Catboy community, and there are around 1,000, 3,000 or whatever good Catboy images, in a pool of
I think we might have dropped out.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get him back up.
You could always just have the next person up while they're out. I don't think I can hear them. I see them on, but I can't hear them.
Yeah, it's showing as green circle, but I'm not getting any audio. I'll bring the next person up and we can try again after.
Hello.
Hello.
I used to work for Discord, and you're currently the biggest Discord integrated platform on the planet, at least according to people who still work there. What's been the biggest benefit and biggest challenge working with Discord?
I mean, there's just a lot of good social stuff, right? We like people can be in rooms. We have voice chat. We have stages. We have screen share. Like we can watch the users actually use Midjourney, and we can talk to them at the same time. We can like dip in, dip out. We can do little micro surveys. We can do announcements. All that's really great. I think what's been really hard is like, the server can't handle as many people as we want to join, so we have had to kick people out of the server. So like even though we have like, I don't know, what are we at now? 15 million, 18 million on the server. We've probably kicked out another 10 million, and those people sometimes are confused. They're like, where did the server go? And usually they're people who like are not active and are not a subscriber, but like they're still like, where did it go? And then they're confused. And so I'm sure we've lost like millions and millions of dollars from kicking. I mean, it's not really about money. Sorry, I'm sure we've lost like a lot of community members who would have joined, because they were kicked out before they bought a subscription. So that sucks. But I mean, it was sort of necessary because the server would like go down otherwise. So that there was sort of no other way about it. We had to kick some. Yeah. Oh, Ancient just disappeared.
Thanks. Yeah, he did. Well, I'll just leave with much Catboy love. There we go.
Wow, we've got a lot of cat positivity today and Catboy positivity. This is I feel like are Catboys actually this popular, or do we just have a very cat centric community? Yeah, I wonder what's last time I did like a cats versus dogs survey, it was 50-50. So it sounds like there's only like, seems like there are as many cat people as dog people on Midjourney. But then I did do the survey once about, which do people make more cat pictures or dog pictures on Midjourney? And I think there are twice as many cats made as dogs. So regardless of whether there's dog people on here, the cat people are really into cats. And I agree. I am also really into cats. I love cats. It's possible that cat boys and cat girls are the like final stage of human evolution. There's a bit of a joke about this sometimes. I think I had a nephew. I have like a 15 or 14. I don't know. Yeah, I had like a 14-year-old nephew, and I asked him like, what does he want to know about the future? I can tell him anything about the future. And the one question he chose to ask me was, can I give my kids cat ears? And I'm like, oh no. Yeah. I guess it depends on when you have kids. It's very possible. Anyway, I guess we'll do some let's do some lightning round again. Guess that was 2 more people. So let's do some lightning round. And I think some of the questions are petering off, so maybe we'll won't have to do we'll end a little early today. Lightning round. Lightning, round 2. Upscaler is different than high resolution, I guess. Maybe it's kind of semantic, so I don't know. We are not currently disclosing our cats per second, but it is meow. What do I think about the UFO congressional hearing? I like UFOs even more than I like Congress. Is it possible for 5.3 to come out in the next week? It is possible, but probably not due to the Discord. Waiting for Discord to implement some things. I think we should I would be interested in having an alien senator. Although I guess they have to be an American citizen. I mean, they could get their green card. Yeah, why not? And then run for senator. That'd be fun. Will the squid person from California take the stand? I don't know if there's a difference between upscaling and high resolution. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. It's semantic. Have I met Elon, Jeff, or Zuckerberg? I have met Elon, yeah, multiple times. Elon actually made a video about Leap Motion, my previous company, a long time ago. There was like a thing with him using the gesture control. There was like a gesture control SpaceX video, and Elon is using Leap Motion. He says nice things about Midjourney on Twitter too, which is really nice. I've not met Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg. I worry sometimes that like the Facebook people just like don't like me. It's possible because like Facebook kind of creeps me out sometimes, that like I might creep them out. It might be like a mutual thing. But like, you know, conceptually I'm like, I definitely respect a lot of organizational things about Facebook. They do a lot of good engineering and such. But there's definitely times, yeah, I don't know. So it's like there might be some allergy. But yeah, I like Facebook. It's where I keep track of my parents. Jeff Bezos. I like Jeff Bezos. I just wish he'd come back to Earth. We need him to solve problems. I think Grimes will come back. Yeah, Grimes will do another event, I think, at some point. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Facebook. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like, it's just, yeah. They have a lot of Midjourney users on the Facebook group. There's a Midjourney Facebook group too. I think the problem with Facebook, honestly, was that like it was so good that like both the kids and the parents could get on, but the second the parents joined the platform, it kind of drove the kids off. You know, it's kind of like having a clubhouse, and then the clubhouse is so good the parents start hanging out there, and then like there's nothing wrong with the clubhouse. It's just that the kids can't be in the same place as their parents. You know, they have to have their own space, and so I think when like my whole family joined Facebook, I started using other things more. And I think that that's like broadly the story for everybody except for, yeah, the parents, which is fine. It's just, you know, it's like it's really hard. It's an interesting question. Like, how do you solve that problem? It's really interesting. Thus far, no social network has really solved it. Just you kind of have different spaces for different groups, you know? Yeah. Uh, yeah. Other questions? Any other questions? I don't wear watches. How will stylize work in 5.3? It should work the same. Will I ever stop doing versions of Midjourney? I don't know. I mean, I think that Midjourney should just like make itself better one day, you know, and then we'll just like I'll take a vacation. That's kind of how AI is gonna eventually work. Do I wear any jewelry? No, I don't really. I'm like very minimal. I'm trying to get cooler clothes though. Yeah, I invited Elon as a guest, but I think it would have to be on Twitter. Makes sense. We could do more Midjourney stuff on Twitter. I kind of want to. Like, I want to do Twitter Spaces, but I don't have the energy right now to do it. There's just like a lot of people. It's hard to describe, but like it's like emotionally exhausting sometimes. I can only interact with like so many hundreds of people a week. Not even that a bad way. It's just like I don't know. It's like physiologically, it's just been challenging, you know. It'd be easier if I didn't have to care, but I always try to care. That makes it hard. It's a lot of people. Yeah. Well, I think one of the biggest limitations of people is that like you really can't like that like we're kind of built for small tribes, you know, we're built for like tribes of 30. And in some ways our brains like just are built for like our brains can stretch maybe to like 150, but our brains are just not built for handling like thousands or millions of people, and it really fucks us up like as a society. Like in some ways society treats you like you treat, you know, somebody outside your 100 or 1,000 person friend circle with like indifference, you know, and sort of a lack of empathy and interest. And so it's really fucked up. Yeah, and it's like it's a huge. It's not like even about that. Like you can try to push past the 150, which is like what I do because I work with so many people. But it starts to like it really just like it just like just starts to break your brain. Your brain is like it's like just so many people all the time, and it's not like they're all real and they're all valuable, but it's like your brain just can't fit it all. It's overwhelming. You know. So I think there's a situation where I think that's where maybe we need something both culturally and technologically to help us. Yeah. I mean, Christianity has some really interesting things where like they say, you know, like if you're hurting somebody you don't know, you're hurting Jesus, or like treat, you know, like everybody like, and then because like Jesus is your friend, and so even if you don't know anyone, you'll like treat them well because otherwise it'd be like messing with this person you do know who is Jesus. So like a lot of like religions have these sort of systems that like allow you to kind of blow empathy to a higher scale, and that's why, you know, it's like one of many reasons why like yeah. Like, well, karma is another example. Like, you know, karma, it's like, are there like karma, you know, karma subatomic particles? Probably not. But then if everybody believes in karma, that like really weirdly works. So these things kind of, you know, like, and so like things like karma or Jesus like have ways of kind of creating these sort of societally, like these scaling laws that don't work otherwise when you're just thinking about everybody like individually as like humans. Like, and so it's really interesting to like, I think we need more things like that and new things like that, and maybe even techno things like that. I'm not saying like techno Jesus. I'm saying like ways of basically enhancing and amplifying like empathy, understanding, and like the ability of large groups to coordinate effectively, like form like greater minds and consciousness. I mean, you could argue that like corporations and governments are already super entities and they're already kind of conscious, but like governments could certainly be more conscious, and they could certainly be more, you know, empowering. So there's definitely like a lot of things there that are really interesting. I can feel like I can feel the limits of my biology. Yeah. Sorry, a little bit of a rant. Yeah, the website, I definitely want to have some kind of interaction on the website that's social, but I think there's a lot of debate right now as to how much social stuff we should have on the website before we launch it. Do we launch it with what? Or, it's an interesting question. Do I hire young people capable of learning or older people who know your exact stacks? I would say we have like a older, more experienced team right now. Because we're a remote company, it's often really hard for young people to come in and learn everything. Unfortunately, one of the biggest problems with remote work is that it's harder for young people to come in and learn. Yeah, I think about that a lot, trying to figure out like the right way to help fix that, but it's really hard. Yeah, mentorship in person is much easier. What's the last thing I /imagined? I don't know. Check. I made a golden wizard. Wizard gold color scheme. There you go. It was just testing something. Yeah, I do a lot of wizards and cats, to be honest. I don't do cat wizards as much. They usually don't come out as well, but I should probably try to make a good cat wizard. Yep. Okay, any last questions, everybody? Questions? Do I take psychedelics? No. I have had kava before, which is like, kava is like this drink that's legal in the United States that has slight psychedelic properties, but it's like a little too strong for me, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, it definitely like relaxes you, which is nice, but it's strong. And yeah. If anybody tries kava, be careful. Don't mix it with alcohol. It could kill you. I think that's why it's illegal in Europe, because anything that mixes with alcohol and kills you will basically kill everyone in Europe. Kidding me? No, but like, yeah. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah. Yeah. But there's like the tea houses in San Francisco that serve kava because it's like non-alcoholic spaces. Yeah, so let's see what else is going on. I don't know. I mean, I drink. I've done alcohol too, so whatever. Yeah. I like sake, hot sake, and soju, and plum wine. But yeah, I don't really drink though. Yeah, I don't smoke. How far is development of 3D? We have like some test things in 3D, but we're not happy with them still. So we definitely know 3D is going to work. It's just a matter of when it gets to this quality that we're happy with. Oh yeah, cider is really nice. Yeah. I try not to drink though. Like I'm not really don't really drinking drugs. Not really my thing. I like apple juice, so cider is apple juice. Yeah, I'm just trying to have my nuts and berries, and not make really loud chewing sounds like a regular person. Everyone's asked, David, do you use vapes? I don't use vapes, but vapes do look cool, right? Like they kind of like make that smoke stuff. I kind of wish there was like cool things you could do that just like made smoke and were like very healthy. Like I want a vitamin vape. It just like gives me vitamins somehow, and it's like a weird, like a health vape. All right, everyone's just asking me questions about David now, so I'm not really here to answer questions about David. My favorite foods: pizza. I like pizza, spiritually at least. I mean, pizza doesn't always make you feel good, but spiritually, pizza is great. Yeah, be mysterious. I like foods, solid foods. Yeah, we have tested things with consistent characters, but I think we didn't have time to really get it out. How do you stay sharp as a CEO? Any advice on how not to go insane in the modern world? The best way to not go insane in the modern world, I guess, is to enjoy it. Like, we went from having a TV show president and a world plague, and crypto to like superconductors and AGI and aliens. And I mean, that's pretty fucking cool. And there's like something to be appreciative there. And there's like so much stuff that's possible. So being really excited about possibilities, I think challenging yourself, trying to stay uncomfortable. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest problems is that a lot of people, when they ask me for advice, they like deep down, they crave adventure, but then they're actually like taking all their energy and seeking safety. And so when you crave adventure but seek safety, and then you wonder why you're not happy, it's probably because you're seeking safety over the adventure that you actually want. So I think there's something to be said about that. And I think it's not really about being a boss or about being a CEO. Those aren't real things. I think chief executive officers aren't real. They're only real insofar that they're like legally required for a corporate entity. But the yeah. But like adventure is real. And seeking safety over adventure is like a real pattern that we can drop into really easily, and then like not be happy with our lives. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I have to even be careful with myself with Midjourney sometimes, is like I want to make Midjourney really stable, but I also want to like make really crazy shit. And so there's a balance even there, between like adventure and stability. Yeah, we're gonna keep making more Midjourney stuff, and we're gonna make like this big community. So that's just right. It's the right thing to do. Niji, I don't use Niji as much. Honestly, we made a lot of aesthetic judgments around Niji that like are really popular in Japan and just don't align with my personal aesthetic sense. So I kind of trust that. I'm happy that people in Japan really like it, but it's gonna be, not if it's yeah. It's definitely more focused on like the Japanese aesthetics, which are cool, but not necessarily. I should play with it a little bit more, but it's just, yeah. Will there always be access to all versions of Midjourney? I'm not sure, but I definitely am trying to leave V3 and V4 and stuff like that around. Yeah. The storytelling team is not really working on conventional controllability, but more of like the sort of weaving the writing and visualization, I would say more, but I'll let them kind of talk about it at some point. Yeah, you can download all your images, but there's an archive tool. It's not perfect, and we're going to make it better, but, it'll get better. There's no Niji updates coming in the short term. I think that like there'll be a V6 model and there'll be a Niji V6, but there's no short-term Niji stuff as far as I know. I think we're more focusing on video for the Niji videos type stuff. Niji video probably really great, yeah. Niji is really good. Niji probably like the best anime AI thing that's gonna happen, because nobody else would invest so much money in making an anime AI. Like no one else would boss. I think like eventually it'll get easy enough where like the anime companies will do it, But like basically right now it's hard and expensive and just no one else would bother. But it is cool. It's really What do I think about WorldCoin? Oh no. I mean, I have like mixed feelings about all crypto. And then I think there's a legitimate question about whether the eyeball scanning stuff is actually like good enough to scale to 1 billion people, or if you start getting duplicates and how sensitive those duplicates are. Personally, I would have redone WorldCoin from a biometric standpoint with multiple forms of biometrics. Like if you did eyeballs and fingerprints, it would be much better, especially if you have redundant stuff, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably a little bit not of the moment anymore. And I think WorldCoin probably would have been really cool if crypto was still going and everyone was excited about it, but it's probably not going to bring back crypto. So, and is crypto ever coming back? I mean, if the American dollar goes down, then you need something. And I hate to say it, but Bitcoin is probably more likely to go up if the American dollar goes down, right? It's either really like the dollar or like the Chinese yuan. And I mean, yeah, I like the Chinese yuan would be interesting, I guess. But yeah, not financial advice. But I don't know. Seems like you should just put your money in the mutual funds, not financial advice. Will Midjourney be 3 objects or 3D surroundings? We're going to try to do both. There'll only be one currency in the future. Midjourney GPU credits. You're going to have to buy food with your GPU credits. You're going to have to buy... Yeah. Instead of like proof of humanity, it'll have to be like proof of imagination. You know, like instead of scanning your eyeballs, you have to like say a bunch of aesthetics and like wizard, cat boy, Art Deco. The future. I love the idea, like the only money being like GPU credits. But yeah. First time I met Elon was after the Leap Motion thing where they made the video. Did I ever meet Sam Altman, the OpenAI CEO? Yes, I have known Sam Altman, the OpenAI CEO, for probably 8 years. I've known all the AI people for like 8 years, around like 8 years. Yeah, right. Because like there used to be this like Peter Thiel, like everybody was kind of around the Peter Thiel social circle for one reason or another 8 years ago. So Sam was there, Demis was there, Dario was there. So that's like DeepMind, Anthropic, OpenAI, and Midjourney. We're all kind of around the same social circles 8 years ago. So we've all kind of known each other for a long time. I'm sure some of us probably get along more than others, but you know, everybody knows each other. I guess Elon was also kind of new people too around then. So yeah, so probably like, yeah, basically everybody knows each other. Yeah. I've not met Ahmad in person. Talk sometimes. Ahmad's not really part of the like Silicon Valley, like, you know, social circle, obviously. He's like more of European hedge fund stuff and UN, I guess. So it's just like a very different social circle. There's like almost no overlap. So I have met Lex Friedman. Have I met Satoshi Nakamoto? I am Satoshi Nakamoto. How do you think I don't need investors? Midjourney is founded with the original Bitcoin wallet. Yeah, no. I don't know. I think people debate who Satoshi Nakamoto is. I think some people think that it was like some person at Berkeley. Yeah, I think Midjourney will personalize down to like individual people one day. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, some Midjourney images are spooky. I wouldn't want them to be real. No. Can I be a speaker at TEDx? Probably not. TED usually wants you to do a lot of work. There will be meetups in the future. Will there be a different model for storytelling? Yeah, there'll be more storytelling. There'll be a kind of storytelling specific model. We're training it. Yeah. Cool. I think that's about it. I feel like we're wrapping up. How will inpainting work? A little pop-up will appear inside of Discord, and you'll be able to like draw over it and then put a prompt in and repaint it. So kind of like how most inpainting stuff looks, except that happens inside of Discord. Yeah. It'll be good. It'll be interesting to see what happens when everyone has it. Midjourney does learn and get better over time. Yes. Will Pan be able to do tile? I don't know. That's a crazy question. I like it. Interesting. Yeah, I feel mixed about Pan sometimes. Like, a lot of them don't look good, but sometimes people do something great with it. So I go back and forth, to be honest. Video that's photorealistic? I don't know. A couple years. Cool. So I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. Oh, don't wrap things up. Okay, yeah, we could let Kinky Kong come up.
I didn't expect you to take me seriously, but yeah, I was in the queue. How's David?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So I just I wanted to ask you or talk to you a couple things. The other day, speaking of crypto, superconductors, AGI, and aliens, we were talking about like what people will call this age in the future. Like, you know, the Bronze Age, the Renaissance, early modern history, and the Industrial Age. What do you think this age will be called? And do you think that when you answer this question, that's what it's going to be called? Being that you have some sort of influence?
I think we're not. It's interesting to ask, like, what was the age? What was like the last 20 years? You know, what was that called?
What was the last 20 years called? I don't even know.
Some people say it's called the information age, but I don't think it is because I think there wasn't that much information.
Okay.
It was like there was a lot, but I think the last 20 years is probably like the communication age because a lot of more people were walking than ever before, but there wasn't necessarily more information, you know. And is it the information age? It's not clear because we're not actually getting like vastly more information still. We're just saving more stuff, you know?
Okay.
So I feel like we coming out of the communication age. I don't know what the next thing is. I mean, this AI stuff is a lot about, there's definitely some stuff coming out of that. But honestly, if we like make some big discoveries in physics, that might be more important than AI.
Yeah.
Like the superconductors is not necessarily like the biggest thing that could happen, but it's like an example of like something really big where like all of a sudden we have floaty rocks.
Okay.
And so I don't know. I think right now, no.
You have me hanging by
like,
right here.
I don't know. Interesting. It's like I'm thinking like it feels a lot like we have to. I mean, I often talk about how like we need to build a lot of new things. But in some ways, like, our powers of creation aren't big enough to rebuild the world in any small amount of time, because the world took a long time to make.
Yeah.
And
tiny in
so,
the scheme of things.
yeah, so to me, I often am thinking about like this era being about building new infrastructure and new creative tools and like creative community that is like powerful enough to actually remake the world.
I don't think they'll call it like
yeah.
the age of intelligence or anything like that.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we have more intelligence now than we had 1,000 years ago.
Pretty sure we don't, but
Yeah, I don't know about that. But
you could see
um,
humanity being cocky enough to think that we do.
I think it's sort of I think it's like it's a transitory thing. Like, I think we're making this transition between, like, the scale of intelligence and the infrastructure for like creation, and like, but to me, like I don't know, this thing about like maybe there's like a scaling. I mean, it sounds dumb. Like, it's not emotionally evocative, so no one's gonna call it this. But I do think that like this decade is a lot about like scaling in infrastructure, and that we're like scaling out compute, and we're scaling out intelligence, and we're building infrastructure for creating and thinking and being in awareness. Like, there's some combination of like, there's a lot of infrastructure being made,
Mhm.
and I think that the infrastructure, like there was this era, there was like the railroad era or whatever, where people were making all the railroads, and then there was like the highways where they were making the highways. I think a lot of what we're building right now are like the highways and railroads for thinking and making things and exploring things.
Yes.
Because the internet was not really made for exploring. I think it's probably needs to be really clear. The internet was made for communicating. It was made to send messages between people. And we have that down. Like, well, kind of. Like, it's hard to do a Zoom call still, or Microsoft Teams, God forbid. But like,
I mean, we're at the point where it's difficult to think of something new, you know?
yeah, I think we're in the point where like it's actually harder to. It's hard to. Yeah, there's yeah, it's sort of, we're definitely more limited by our ability to like explore and imagine and think than we are by our ability to find information or to communicate.
Right.
And I think those are probably related. It's like, because everybody is talking, it's like harder to think.
Yeah, I think it's a great answer.
So yeah. So everyone, the communication age made everyone talk so much no one could think anymore. So now there's like something about trying to move into this sort of more thinking exploration stage, but it's gonna take some time. It's not, and so to me, like, the next 10 years is about making that transition largely. And I see the 2030s as like a decade where, like, basically, like, people see right now, everybody feels they're changing a lot right now, but things aren't really changing. They're just new things being created. What's possible is changing, but what's happening is not changing very much. Like,
Yeah.
it's possible to make images right now, right? That's pretty cool. But like, our movies aren't different yet, and our like the way we tell stories isn't different yet. And like, there's a lot of things that are not really different,
Right.
And so I think the possibilities are changing a lot. But
It's been harnessed properly yet.
in the 2030s, I think things will be like pretty harnessed, mature. And so I think the 2030s is in many ways like we have these capabilities, and now just like everything is being rewritten. Like, yeah, so I think the 2030s in some ways are what I'm really excited for. The 2020s, like, I'm grateful to be a part of building the infrastructure. It's it's weird. It's like, I'm making roads, but what I really
part
want
of the infrastructure.
to do is zoom down that road,
Huh? Absolutely.
one day. I bet that happened. I bet I could just imagine somebody's like, I'm making the internet, I'm making the like what do you call it, the American highways, like, I'm making one of these long roads, but all I want to do one day is have my own car and zoom down this road.
Right.
Like, I think there's a real feeling of that with me.
I wonder if they'll like make old timey artwork about you guys, like who invented all these information railroads, like they do. Like, the guys with their pickaxes and working on the railroad. Except it'll be like you guys with your computers, and it'll be the face of like some sort of a art movement yourselves. But
and in Cowboy Bebop, there was this they have like these like wormhole gateways, and there's all these old guys, and they're always like, "We built those gates when we were just kids. Yep, we built, we built them till the cows came home."
I am familiar with Cowboy Bebop. I
A
haven't
lot like that, yeah.
and I guess I can end that question if you're done. But the other thing I wanted to say was, thanks for having so many events and learning environments on here, because when I was a kid, I just wanted to like take this old abandoned mill that we have here in Massachusetts and turn it like a community learning center and help people barter and just teach each other stuff that they didn't know and like learn new hobbies and skills. And I mean, a lot of people have tons of passion to teach, and I'm really happy to have sort of like a real life virtual version of that coming up around us. We have been, teaching each other with prompt battles, with Peter Moorbacher, with everything. And this weekend on Friday, we have Vic to do his consistent characters class, which is going to help a lot of people learn how to harness this kind of, technology that you're creating. And I am really appreciative that, like, not only do you just plop this stuff in people's laps, but you kind of help them figure out where to go with it, like with prompt chat and all the other learning rooms. But yeah.
I'm excited about all the events. I hope everyone
I am
saw.
Prompt battles
Well,
had
have
almost
fun.
100 people in there this weekend.
I bet everybody better have fun in the events.
They better, and I think they are. I think they've made it a little fun. And then this guy's
It's a promise and a threat.
yeah, you better.
And the command. Have fun.
Yeah.
Have fun or else.
But also on Friday we have Victor Darley coming in. He does a VTube show, and he used to work for Adult Swim, Robot Chicken. Well, he's a VFX artist, TV and movies, and he wants to help you figure out what he figured out about creating consistent characters learning Midjourney. He's a pretty cool guy. But thanks for letting me host that. I hope you have a really good week, David, and thank you for waiting for me to come on for 1 minute.
Right. No
Sure, it was
worries.
more than 1 minute, but however long I was here.
You're welcome. You're always welcome. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap it for the day, unless this is the last chance. No, I'm not gonna. No more lightning rounds. We're done for the day. Thank you everybody for coming. I hope everybody has a nice week. I don't know how to rap. I'm sorry.
Did he leave? Oh, he's
but-
still here.
Thank you everybody for coming. I hope you have a nice week. I'll see everybody next week. We do these every week, and yeah, have fun. Have a nice day. Bye bye.